Welcome, trendsetters. We are Alicia and Nicole from Positive Image. As salon owners, hairstylists, and business coaches, we're here to help you navigate the ever-changing landscape of the beauty industry and discover the secrets to creating a thriving salon business. So grab your favorite beverage, cozy up in your salon chair, and let's dive into the world of hair, style, and entrepreneurship together.
Today, we are going to talk about whether or not you are mentally healthy, well enough to be friends with other business or salon owners. My first point that I want to bring up is whether you feel jealousy or joy, because I think we've all been there. We've all seen someone else doing something, whether it's something they shared or whether it was on social media, and we've just decided that clearly they're doing way better than we are, and we're envious of their success. Nicole's favorite mindset. We were talking about how if you are feeling jealous versus joy for that person's success, it is often a place of mindset where you're currently not in the best mindset to be able to feel centered and okay with yourself enough to be able to feel joy for someone else.
Yes, exactly. So I don't want to say I love it when I feel that jealousy ting, but I don't see it as a bad thing because I use it as a vice to tell me that I want to be where they are and that it gives me something to strive towards, especially if I'm feeling lost with what I want to do or where I am at right now or at that point within anything, business, life, um, relationship, self-love, whatever it is. So the awareness around having jealousy is great because it shows you what you feel like you're lacking or where you feel you're lacking. Um, so I feel like that is such a vital point, and it's okay. It's okay being jealous. It's not a bad emotion. It's No emotion is a bad emotion. It's what you do with it is a bad emotion. So if you have the jealousy and you go on and you say a negative comment or you start talking badly about that person or that thing because you are jealous, that's a bad action from an emotion. It's not a bad emotion. But if you take that jealousy and you turn it into something amazing and positive from it, it's still just an emotion. There's no positive or negative to that emotion itself.
I think that's a great thing in general to bring up. Everything is what you decided it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, like we do all have wide variety of emotions that come over us, and it is a matter of, well, what are you going to do with that emotion? I want to throw out, because maybe it's not necessarily a common practice. I think when you do more goal setting or you create more projects, you're more in habit of reflecting on things and taking a moment to become a bit more self-aware of what's happening with your emotions and how you're feeling. Um, but I think if you are feeling jealous or even joy or any other emotion, is to take that moment, like you were saying, to reflect and like, well, why am I feeling this? And I feel like we've talked about it a few times on different episodes. Be mindful of, just because you're feeling jealous of what somebody else has does not mean you want what they have. So don't drop everything and then be like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm gonna, you know, rabbit or hamster on a hamster wheel, go wild and do all these things to achieve this thing when it's not even in line with what you want. You already have a goal. You're feeling jealousy, maybe not even having anything to do with where that person is at, but more because of where you're at, where your emotions are at. in general.
So what you're saying is if I'm jealous about something,
Mhm.
first, let's be aware that we are jealous. Like, let's be aware of that emotion. And then really break it down and try and understand what it is. I'm not jealous that they're doing XYZ because I've been there, done it. I don't want to be. What am I really jealous of?
Yeah,
And so really understanding what that underlying emotion, what is it triggering or bringing up for you?
100%.
That's really hard to do.
Nicole's wheels are turning hard.
Yeah.
It is hard to do. I'm not saying any of this stuff is easy.
Yeah.
If it was easy, we wouldn't even need to talk about it.
Okay, so it gives you such amazing awareness. And then when you're feeling that so how is joy different from jealousy? Like in the way of like even being aware of like where in my body am I feeling jealousy versus where in my body am I feeling the joy?
Yes. Yes, that's good. Like I was saying to you, for me at least, jealousy and joy feel very different. Like jealousy makes me feel very anxious or like upset emotionally. Whereas joy, I feel blissful. I feel free. I feel like, okay, like that's amazing. And like it, even if you're even if you're searching for words to try to figure out how to feel joy, think of if that salon owner can achieve that and I can feel joy for them, I can achieve that.
And then I think if you can go to the joy, like how do you move from being a jealous person and jealous person with no emotion to it, like no positive, no negative, into somebody who's joyous at watching other owners succeed? How can you go from being from one state to another state?
Sorry, all I can think of is the Hawaii meditation.
So the
You don't have to say it. Look
we
up
had some.
Hawaiian meditation for forgiveness.
Yes, it's a very difficult word to say. Have a giggle when you're trying to say it. But what Alicia is alluding to is that this Hawaiian meditation is all about forgiveness and it's all about self forgiveness. And so it basically it goes, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And so if you're struggling with jealousy and really finding that you're not finding joy with seeing other salon owners succeed, maybe there is a little bit of forgiveness work that you can need to do internally that might help you be able to start seeing joy and kind of jumping in with the celebration of seeing other salon owners or peers succeed.
I think exactly what you're saying. And maybe it's not quite exactly how you meant it. We were talking about relationships earlier, and you were talking about mirroring people's energy. And um, if all we're doing is just mirroring, which is a very common thing for us to do, and we're not taking control of our center, then we're always going to be in this weird hamster wheel emotion place. Whereas if we do have that control, if we've done whatever our inner work, our inner child work, and we have forgiven ourselves for whatever it is. And I get that if this is new concepts for some people, this is very woo woo, and you're like, well, that definitely doesn't work. But let me tell you, if you sit there with yourself long enough and say things like, I forgive you, or I'm not angry with you, or I'm sorry, and like actually have intention with it, um, it is kind of mind blowing how your body feels. Um, and the more things that you have buried under your subconscious that you haven't processed is the more emotions that will come out of that, right? And I think that's part of it. So as we're thinking about relationships with other salon owners, there is all this, weird like, are we supposed to compete or are we supposed to collaborate? But we have all these unmanaged emotions. We'll call them unmanaged emotions. And so we're mirroring either jealousy versus joy, um, and any number of other emotions, I'm sure. Um, but we can only control ours. And I think also with that, we've always had friend relationships or family relationships that we have to decide to separate from because you can be there to be supportive with someone, but if they're not in that spot and they don't want to walk in the same path with you and grow with you, then you can't control that. You can only control yourself and how you feel in your own actions.
Exactly. And then from there, like, we get into so many different areas that, um, we can work on, but I think the biggest thing that you touched on here was the, collaborate versus competition, and that's a really hard I find, before I met Alicia, I didn't know a lot of salon owners, and when you do, there is almost this, like, sense of gatekeeping. Of like, "Ooh, I don't wanna give
Mm,
away, like, all of my secrets. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit, but I don't wanna give away all my secrets." And I know when, I was getting into coaching and coaching other salon owners, that was something I had to deal with, and I had to kind of get over myself because I realized that the more I can share my wealth and knowledge with other owners and help them succeed, the more I succeeded, the more I learned, the more I grew, the better I was able to get. And that I really felt so strong that my way of doing things is my way of doing things, and nobody else is gonna replicate it or be able to, do what I do better than me. They're gonna do what they do in the most incredible way better than me, but it's gonna be attracting the right clientele for them. It's gonna attract the right stylists for them. And if my stylist chose to go somewhere else and work for somebody else, that's on them. Like, that's I'm not gonna be upset that they have chosen somebody else that aligns better with their goals and their working environment. Yes, my ego will take a hit, and yes, it will hurt, but I know deep down that that is the best move for them. And if it isn't,
that's the best way of saying
yeah,
that.
and if it isn't, then that's just the journey that they have to go on. Yes, it sucks. It does. It really hits the ego hard, but you cannot keep everybody under your umbrella and expect them to grow into the best version of themselves.
100%. I think exactly that. All of that. There's no other you. And if someone does want to leave, even if some other salon owner reached out and poached someone, if I have a stylist that doesn't actually want to stay and is poachable, then by all means, I don't I don't deserve them. Then
Yep.
the space isn't right for them, whatever word you want to put on it. Um, again, also, yes, it's emotional, it sucks. And then you gotta regroup and figure out new things. But it doesn't change that, like, that's obviously going to be the best spot for them. And I'm probably just going to be in a situation where I'm going to want to let them go or some have constant issues with them in some time down the line,
Yeah.
right? People aren't leaving just because someone's messaged them. I'm going to first say that Nicole and I met on Facebook and then it went on to Clubhouse and then it kind of kept going from there. But Nicole, you created a Facebook group
Yes, I did.
called
It's called Salon Owners of Ontario, the Facebook group, and it was created during COVID, one of the lockdowns, and I really wanted a place that we could all come together and to help one another out, whether it was I think at the point in time, I had a staff member that I had to let go. And my intention was if this staff member started contacting other owners, just to be able to give them a heads up about what this person was like, because they should not be doing hair.
Mm.
But the beautiful part that came out of that is having a safe place for owners to talk, that we can help one another with their business questions, with difficult clients, difficult staff, tax questions, or even create a group where we can just network and meet. And I
Yeah,
put it out to a few different groups. And I think, Alicia, that's where you came in with one of the groups. And I would say confidently that this is probably the best thing that has come out of COVID and has come out of that group was is our relationship. And having a relationship with another salon owner can be tough. You really have to be self-aware of what you're bringing to the table, that you're not just taking or that you're not just giving. You have to be very aware
hmm,
of that you're not gatekeeping, that it is a friendship on top of a business relationship, and that the communication that you have between that other person and yourself is honest and sincere, and you guys are both on the same page. I think both of us are very fortunate that we have been able to fall into this very naturally, and it's a beautiful, beautiful friendship that has gone on to make this podcast and help everybody else out. But I think at the end of the day, our
yeah,
intention for this podcast is to show that it is possible to have a healthy relationship with another salon owner, that you don't have to gatekeep, that you don't have to compete against, and that you can have such a strong business bond and friendship bond too.
beautifully said. And yes, super grateful for what we've created. And I think that's exactly it too, right? Like most of us have intuition. We have our little spidey sense, and you get the feeling of if someone is being genuine and yeah, so I don't think there's anything wrong with putting yourself out there. Find different um, hair groups, find salon owner groups, see if you can find some people that are local to you, or just be virtual. I mean, Nicole and I live on the opposite side of the city, but we still see each other sometimes in person, in real life. Otherwise, we're virtual. So you can totally do this from different parts of the world or the country, wherever you might be. But put yourself out there. And anytime you put it to yourself out there, the worst thing that's going to happen is you get a no, or you get turned down, or no one bites on it. And try again in another few months. Because when the people that are right for you, they'll see it and they'll come and just continue to do that. And I think keeping in mind again that you can only control your actions. Um, if you're a little unsure or you feel like maybe you've been burned in the past, just grab a drink or a coffee for the first time you meet. You don't have to actually talk shop. You don't have to talk you'll probably go there because you'll probably want to just like vent about
But
something.
but that being said, like, having somebody else who knows exactly what you're going through is incredible. Like, there's so many times that I've just sent Alicia off a
Mhm.
text message just going, "Can I just get your perspective on here? Because I feel like I'm going crazy and I'm not."
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I mean, I think that's um especially as solo owners, it is really nice to just have someone else that you do feel like you've managed to take the time to build that trust. And again, I say that as like it does take time. It's not like you meet up with someone, have a drink with them, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, that was so much fun." Like we vented, we connected on the venting. You're not gonna necessarily feel completely open to trusting instantly. Like just like any other relationship, it's gonna take time. Some move faster, some move slower. That doesn't necessarily mean it's good or bad. I think it's just a matter of monitoring like what kinds of things are talked about. Is it a one-sided conversation? Are you the only one sharing? Are they the only one sharing? Like what is actually going on in these relationships? Is it actually something you want to pursue with that person? Was that drink absolutely awful and you don't want to see them ever again? Again, even if that was awful and you don't want to see that person ever again, that doesn't mean you need to be rude to them afterwards. And I'm all for the, especially like in dating, to not ghost someone, to say, it was really nice meeting you. I don't know if I felt the connection with you. Maybe we can try again in another few months and maybe it'll be different. Maybe we just weren't in the right place today. I'm open to your thoughts. Um, but for me right now, it wasn't quite the salon owner connection that I was looking for.
Mhm.
It doesn't, you're being polite. It doesn't matter whether they have emotions on that or not. And maybe that's why you felt that way, because their emotions aren't where you are. So, but there's nothing better than being honest at the end of the day about how you're feeling. Even if you said that was really amazing and someone just ghosted you, same as dating. Obviously, there are no, move on. It still doesn't have anything to do with you. Maybe it does. Maybe it does. I don't know. But chances are, if you're trying and you're putting in the effort, just be mindful of kind of like what we were talking about at the beginning of this episode. Take an account of how you're feeling, reflect, and see how that's going. And you can only control yourself, but
Yeah,
also put yourself
exactly.
out there.
And I think if anybody wants to do more networking, we are always happy to opening up a networking group or having an event, ourselves.
I'm laughing. Sorry. I'm kind of cutting you off. I'm laughing. Maybe it's not good that I'm laughing. That was
It
one of our
was
goals for last year. We didn't do it. I think we love this to the public. We love this. We are both just also very busy that sometimes our goals fall by the wayside. So, genuine honesty as salon owners, you can set goals. It doesn't mean you achieve all of them. They're just direction to go in and things that you'll continue to talk about
mhm.
wanting to have happen until one day it just magically happens. So, we want to know if you want to meet up.
I think they're not just I don't think it's a fall by the wayside. I think it's just we had the
Sure.
timing wrong.
Yeah.
It will happen, but it just may be the timing that we had intended is not the timing that it was meant to be intended. Ways that you can find other salon owners that you can meet and have a group with is you can find like social media groups of salon owners. If there's somebody on the internet or Instagram that you're really interested in or like what they're doing, if you feel like you have a similar connection, reach out to them. Like send them a DM and just be like, "Hey, I really like your stuff. You mind where do you live? Or can we go for coffee? Or can we have a coffee over Zoom or something like that? I'd love to chat and pick your brain."
Oh, you said that. I was just gonna say, like, I would state your intention. If you're sending a direct message to someone, state your intention. Because I think anytime someone messages directly, we're kind of like, oof, what is this? What's going on? What do you want?
Fun fact: I had right before New Year's, I had somebody reach out to me, and the way that they had composed their email, it made it seem like they were looking to book some time with me to go over their numbers for coaching. And so I replied, "Yeah, great. Here's my link." And then they came back going, "Oh, I this is not what I intended." They were trying to sell me something.
Oh, okay.
So, So be clear because you can get your
Yeah.
wires crossed.
Clear intentions is good. And then it also, there's just certain things that I get like a, hey, and I'm like, uh-oh, what was, maybe it's just like COVID trauma. I'm like on guard. But you don't want someone answering your message on guard. You want someone answering your message and being like, oh, well, that was really nice. Okay, maybe I do want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. And you can also even reach out to some of the other
Good.
local salon owners around you and see if you can create even just like a meetup close by and just, trade thoughts. And to me, our industry needs a lot more consistency. And so to have a group of individuals doing the exact same job per se that can be consistent or that you can create consistency is amazing and fantastic. So you never know. You might be able to find your own little group in your town or area of a few salon owners and then create some amazing client centered events with a collaboration with a few salons, whether it be like a haircutathon to help raise awareness for wigs for cancer patients or something along those lines. Like there's just so many opportunities that is great marketing for you and your business and other people in their businesses. So if a thought pops into your head, go with it because you never know why that thought is there and it could lead to something absolutely
100%.
incredible.
Love that. So what do we do if we feel like maybe we thought we could trust someone, but then we found out we couldn't?
Well, I know I think just having really good communication. So if somebody is doing something, like reflect and really get clear of what that thing is. You really like the conversation, but they just do this one thing that really, really bugs you, then have a conversation with them about it. They might not even be aware that you're doing it. The worst thing that you can do is just, as you said earlier, is just ghost them. So have that good communication with them. And then from there, set that boundary. Look, I really didn't like that you talk so negatively about this staff member. So, why don't we just let's just not talk about our team. I don't think that that's just a healthy thing for a relationship. And that way, that if that comes up again and again, then you're like, you know what, this person's not respecting me and what I'm saying, then you can kind of end this friendship if that's the way that you want it to go. Or maybe just be very careful with those conversations, just redirect when it starts going the way of whatever it is that you don't like.
And then always learn from everything and continue to
Mhm.
grow onwards and upwards.
Yeah, exactly. All we can do is grow as humans. We're not perfect.
No.
Your friends aren't perfect. We may think we are, but we're not perfect. And so the more we can grow and the more we can have those conversations and the more that we can have great, healthy relationships and, cut out the toxic relationships in our life, the better we're going to be at the end of the
100%.
day. So if anybody's interested in networking, please reach out to us. We would love to get something like this going. We want to hit an event, or we want to make an event. We want to hit that goal. Reach out to us. And again, thank you for listening and taking the time being with us today.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. Take this knowledge and just keep developing yourself. And hey, we want to hear from you too. Join the conversation using our hashtag Positive Image Podcast. Share your thoughts, questions, and success stories. Who knows, we might just feature you on an upcoming episode. Don't keep us a secret, tag your friends too. Want to keep learning? Check out our show notes. Find us on Instagram at hello.positiveimage and be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode filled with inspiration and insights.